Hello Sagittarius, welcome back to my channel. I am Mariana and I will do the vibes inside for you today. Okay, Sagittarius, I feel you are in a transformation period. Like I feel it's a bit of a tumultuous energy, or I would call it a bit chaotic feeling that I have. And I kept wanting to balance it. Like I was doing everything I could to kind of, and I'm rocking back and forth here, right? Because I wanna balance it, right? But I don't think that it's supposed to be balanced. So it struck me that any creative process, for instance, is a bit of a tumultuous, chaotic process because it hasn't found its grounding yet. A chaotic, we could say a birth, for instance, right? Birthing something, birthing a child, it comes with a kind of tumultuous thing. The child and the body is preparing for this birth, and everything has a pace and everything has a path, and there may be growing pains, right? There may be like you would say the child and the body needs to work together to get the birth all right. Right? It needs to work together. It needs to be a unit or a unification for a birth to be problemless, you could say. And a birth comes with like pain for the woman and probably pressure and all kinds of different sensory feelings for the child. When the child is born, it can no longer receive oxygen and food and everything through the navel cord. So from one minute to another, now it suddenly has to be different or do different or learn different. It's like a totally new experience from being a fish underwater, in water. You are now suddenly not. And that feels strange perhaps, right? And you need to learn to breathe in this new air, and there's nothing that holds you like the tummy and the womb. Suddenly you are like out in the free. I think that there is a situation where I feel for you, Sagittarius, if you resonate with this, that this is completely new, like it's new. And it's a strange feeling. Again, maybe, like maybe part of your life is the same, but something is new still. And there's a navigation towards that. It feels maybe chaotic and tumultuous before it grounds itself or before it lands. Like, that's the best way I can describe it. I wanted to try to balance it, right? And like try to like calm it, somehow to calm it down and figure out how to somehow get something grounded perhaps, or there's something about grounding it. It's almost like when it touches the earth, then it kind of can relaxes, then it can relax. But when it's still up here in the air and it's still halfway through the birthing channel, right? It's not there yet, right? It's still this chaotic. I think that every creative person, like someone writing or reading or writing or painting or singing or something, when they are preparing for the aria, or they are in the process with the painting, but it's not quite there yet. It's still this, like, you need to put more, or you need to, like, add something. It's like the point has not come through, or the image is not quite there yet, or the product is not quite there. Like for a novel writer, I think it's important to have like the plot. The plot has to be really good, right? It has to be a solid, good plot. That is maybe new, that it hasn't been seen before, it has not been used in that way. It has, who is the villain, right? Can we, how long can I disguise the villain in this novel? And when is this villain supposed to come forward or something, right? In a criminal novel or something. And a painter that has this abstract painting going, it's like you keep adding something until you feel that it's like it has to be like this. But before I have this, there's a certain feeling. There's a certain feeling that needs to kind of ground itself in you, or with the expression or the thing you're working on. Otherwise, it's like it's not. It doesn't feel satisfactory. It doesn't feel like, yeah. Now I got it. Like now it's finished. I have that feeling now. And as the artist or the creator, it must come to that. The birth has to become complete. Like you can't just stop in the middle of the birthing of a child, right? It's like, then you can kill the child. You can even kill yourself as a mother, right? If the child doesn't get out, right? That is a very very dangerous situation, actually, right? It takes everything, like, to create or be that, and we take that totally for granted. But actually, it's the birth is well, the pregnancy can be important, of course, but the birth is actually the final stage. And in the past, we 100 years back, it was not uncommon that the mother was killed during childbirth. 200 years back, many children were born where the mother died. So are you willing to die for your project, right? Are you willing to give up something to get your process or your product out there, or to, are you willing? And I'm not saying you're dying, right? I'm saying you're transforming. I'm saying something about you is transforming. And if you want a transformation, you cannot stay the same and and then become different, right? Something has to give somehow. Like, otherwise you can't move in a new direction, right? Whatever that means for you. I recently read about light bodies, what that is. I have read about it many times, but just to remind myself. And well, a light body is, just to take that example, right? Out of any example, I take that one. Well, maybe that's the problem, right? That you sit with something that feels so out of the ordinary that you don't really think that this is something that can actually grow, or that people will like it or something, right? That you have an idea about something, but it's too out there somehow. Well, a light body is supposed to be a part of the human energetic body. Or part of the human energy body. It's way lighter than our current bodies, and this has nothing to do with kilos or what you like weigh in an earthly sense, so your body shape or anything. It's a manifestation of the frequency that you have and the merging with God energy. And I believe that the further people come along with this existence, you do get lighter. Like your physical body will become less. I believe like it becomes it can, at least it can become less like choosing. And I also feel like the body literally stops wanting food and wanting, like, the cravings that you normally have, the cravings that should keep your body going, becomes less. Like, you eat less, you drink less. It's an activation that kind of again makes the body less dense. Like it's half physical or half spiritual, you could say. So adding like a spiritual essence to your current body means that something else, some other kind of density perhaps, needs to leave. Otherwise you can't kind of have this change, you could say. So those who are into these traditions or these understandings and are seeking this enlightenment, seeking this further connection with God energy, they would feel themselves more and more drawn to, I don't know, eat differently, retrieve from the so-called hamster wheel, and like prioritize maybe prayer, meditation, a religion, a devotion to something godly, like devotion practice, aligning the body with, you could say, that, meaning that there are certain things you avoid eating, there are certain things you're not putting your attention on it, like it's like the news or a certain entertainment or something. You're not doing that. You have your vision and your entire focus is on something else. And if let's say, I don't know, if you have a soul that kind of wants to go that way, and you have your ego human existence that wants something else, because the ego typically does that, right? It is fueled by the more selfish, you could say, or self-oriented, quick pleasures or something like that. In a spiritual realm, or a spiritual understanding, that's probably how it's seen. And you can be quite in the middle, right? That you have done some kind of healing work on yourself, and you feel maybe like the next step would be that I kind of commit myself to like this more devoted kind of service to God, to people in that way. committing yourself to a certain lifestyle or work or something, and then feeling the resistance to it. And that's what I think maybe that's why I have this feeling of like a tumultuous energy, like that you are in a process of birthing yourself as new, or birthing something as new, but it's not quite there yet, and there's resistance to it because it's new and strange and different, and it may require certain things of you, and your ego is struggling with that somehow. Yeah, that's probably the best description I think I can give, just to give you an example, right? It can be anything. It doesn't have to be any religious thing or something. It could be anything, right? Let's say you that your wife is pregnant, and you know that you are becoming a father, right? But it's a struggling feeling. Let's say you are not the one going through pregnancy. You're watching it in someone else, but you can't feel it, right? You can't feel the pregnancy in you. There's nothing growing in you. Just from one moment to another, you become the father, and the baby is in your arms, right? And there's this, whoa, what is this, right? That it's and there can be many tumultuous feelings going on, right? I think people can have that also before they get married, like this. But I'm giving something up to have something else, and it's, yeah. Hopefully you are totally willing and find that exciting and things. It's a beautiful new step in your life. But I do think that there will also be the other feelings. Like, right, that could be the other feelings as well. That, so I'm giving the life I have up for something else. I'm changing something very big in my life, right? It's hopefully beautiful and everything. It's what I hope and expect, right, from this person. I'm devoting myself now. I'm creating family now, right? Me and someone else is now, in the eyes of God, family, right? And in the eyes of community and friends and family, we are now our own family together, right? And that is a change. And it can be a significant change in the way you may feel. And there can be like joy and bliss and everything with it, but there may also be doubt, right? And what if he's not showing up? What if she's not showing up at the altar, right? What if the marriage and the living together is changing the entire magic between us? What if this becomes everyday routine? Or so there is maybe, again, as I said, a resistance to something because you don't know the full outcome of it. We never can really know the full outcome, can we? Right? So a transformation or a step towards something, but not quite knowing the full extent of it. And again, as it could even like be the other way around, like that your ego really wants this, right? Your ego wants this. Your ego wants, I want to be married to this person. I want to live with them forever. I am so in love with them. I couldn't never think about them in a different way. This is my person. This is my soulmate. This is everything. Your ego says that. But there is a little voice, like your gut feeling is kind of trying to tell you something, right? It's trying to tell you something, but you're ignoring it, right? You ignore it. You want this transformation. You egotistically, you want it. Like, for many reasons, right? It could be that you really find this person like the ideal person. You like everything about them, the body, the hair, their personality, their humor, their income perhaps. You may like their lifestyle, you may like everything about them. You may like the sex, you may like the passion, you may like many things about them, right? But the little voice, the little gut feeling is kind of stirring, and you may ignore it, right? You want the transformation. Maybe it's time. Maybe it's just time, you know? Maybe it's time, like, you have reached that age. You have reached that age where you say now would be a good time to be married, right? Or have children or something. And so if I should do it, I should do it now. And he's here and he's perfect and everything, right? So we're doing this. But there's a little voice that may tell you that that's not the right thing to do, right? So you are about to make a change, a transformation that may go against actually what it is that your soul is telling you, your spirit is telling you, your inner, you could say, or higher self, or something is telling you, or your intuition, that you go against your intuition to achieve something, right? And you may get married, you may become a mother, you may have that kind of family life, and maybe it's going okay, or maybe it's going really bad for you, that you end up hating it. You end up hating your partner. You don't feel you have spare time. You feel, I don't know. I have the lovers here showing themselves here. It could be something about relationship and love here, a partner or a significant other. Yeah, it says you make choices from your heart, right? Remember that, like, it's not from your egotistical point of view. Listen to the heart, listen to the gut feeling about something, because again, we are conditioned to think that a certain life path would be right for us, right? You grow up, you get your education, you get, you know, like you fall in love with someone. You become a couple, you become married, and the next thing is that, well, you get children, right? And that's the happiness. That is the greatest goal in life. That is having this good family where you know that, oh, have Pachamama here come out with a dozen of other cards, but I'm just taking Pachamama. There could be something about a dominant mother here. Like she came out with a bang here, right? Maybe there's something about a mother here. Or again, you are a mother, becoming a mother with a bang, right? Becoming a mother with a bang. Being a mother with a bang. Maybe being a badass mother. I don't know. But you know, like being maybe a defensive mother. Like really defending your, no, like a lioness mother, right? That really defends her I get almost a feeling of doorslam, right? This clack, like that, like enough is enough, or something is enough, or that becoming a mother is a cut, right? That is a major cut of something that changes everything, right? It changes your entire life forever. as opposed to not having children, for instance, like your entire life is different. One thing is that you have, I don't know, 18, 20 years where they are young and then become elder and older, and eventually they are supposed to take care of themselves. They're supposed to somehow learn to somehow go out there and have their life, right? But it doesn't mean that you are releasing that grip, right? You still are a mother, even though they are 30 or 40 or 50, you're still a mother, right? And so somehow you still have this link to them, right? That and there can be an expectancy, even for a 40-year-old, you could say, child, a so-called mature person can sometimes still need the support or the help or the advice or something from their parents, right? Especially if they have a good connection, if they trust each other and everything, right? But maybe there's like a door slam or something that maybe you feel the door slam as a mother, that someone is literally slamming the door in your face, right? That they are saying no to you, or they are not, or you are saying no to them, right? That you are not that you no longer have open arms, you know, open, comforting, motherly arms about something. It could be something like, I think that one aspect where this is extremely difficult is that if you have a child, let's say they are 20 or something like that, and they are an addict. And as a mother and a father, you want the best for your child. You've always hoped and wished and everything the best for your child. And they end up in this situation. And you know, they come around asking for money. They sleep for a night and then they are out again, and they have emptied your wallet or something and took money from you, or they took things they could sell or something, right? That they, you would say, lucrate on whatever items you may have that could be sold, or somehow generate money for new drugs. To like put this door slam out there, to like really reject the child, the young person. And they are in a vulnerable situation, right? They are in a situation where they can actually not really, like, they are coping, right? But it's just that, right? It's not the life we hoped for them, right? It's not, maybe also not the life that they actually want, right? But somehow they ended up here. Did we create that for them? Did we at some point make decisions that could literally have hurt them that much, that they felt like they needed something to numb themselves or something, right? I think that any parent that goes through something like that eventually will look at themselves as if, have I failed as a mother? Have I failed as a father? Didn't we do enough? Didn't we go through, were we not there, right? Or why did this happen, right? And slamming the door in the face of your addicted child and say no to them like that, I think this is probably one of the most difficult situations, and you may need to do this more than once, right? You may need to do it several times because it keeps coming back and asking for more, right? It keeps coming back in its altered state because you don't recognize them, right? This is not the child you have. This is not the beautiful little daughter or the good son or the beautiful child you had. In this state, you don't recognize them. They are a shadow. They are just a crippled version of themselves, and you know that. Like, you know them, you know the core of them, like, this is your child. You know from they were born. You know how beautiful, how much beauty there is there. You know that in them, and seeing them like that is like it's like a copy, like a real bad copy of them, right? It's not real. It feels like a messed up version, right? It's not what you know. It's not what you recognize. It's unfamiliar. When they are in this state, it's not your child, right? They operate totally different. Their values, their cravings, everything they do, they would lie, manipulate to your face. Right? They would do all this stuff because the drug is controlling them. They would lie to you about rehab. They would lie to you anything to have the drug that they need. Right? Anything to have something to keep you there, to keep you supporting them, to keep you giving something to them. They would lie. They would do anything. They would make up like any story, right? And this door slam thing is perhaps, again, I talked about resistance. Like, maybe you have resistance of doing this, like this door slam, or you are the one being door slammed, like you are like on the other side of the door, right? That you receive the door slam from someone who says like, enough is enough, this is done. I'm no longer putting up with these games. I'm no longer part of this mind game. I'm no longer part of this manipulation. I say no to this. I'm out, right? Don't come back or whatever. It feels a bit so either it's because there's something tumultuous around you that wants to come into your life and you're just saying no to it, right? That you want it out. And maybe that's why I wanted to balance in the beginning. Like, I immediately start rocking like back and forth, right? This and breathing, like I needed to balance this somehow. And then I felt like maybe I shouldn't balance it. Like, maybe this is exactly what Sagittarius reading is about, that there is something tumultuous here, that you cannot balance it. Again, no matter what you do about someone who is addicted. If someone is addicted, they live in another world. They live in a different world, right? And it's not the world that you are in. Like, they are occupied with something totally different here, and you are in another world, and you're looking at them from your perspective. They are looking at you from their perspective of being addicted and needing the drug, right? The communication you have is not equal, or it's not on the same base. You don't have the same values. They just want the drug by any means. You may want something else from them, right? You may want something like loving, caring, dearing, something like that, right? But you cannot expect that from someone whose whole total focus is about their addiction and the drug. It's everything they think about. We had the Lovers card come out. If you have someone in your life who is addicted to alcohol or drugs or something. It's the only thing they think about. It's what drives them. Nothing else. Nothing else. And that has to be set totally clear. On your part, though, I want to say, if you're the other one, Sagittarius, watching this person, I want to say you may be driven by something else. You may be driven by feelings, attachment, the love of your life, as I said. Maybe you want that, right? Maybe that's what you want, right? You like that could be what you want, right? You want the connection. You don't have a connection with someone who is on drugs. Like, there is no connection. You're connecting with the person that is numbing themselves, or, as I see it sometimes, the people who use drugs. For me, any addiction, you can name any addiction, actually. It doesn't matter which one. The precise moment when the drug kicks in, the precise moment when the alcohol level has reached a certain level, when the gambler receives some kind of success, that precise moment of the dopamine kick that comes in the brain and in the body, that precise moment, I believe, resembles connection with God. It's the extreme bliss. This is where you have this out of your body. You have this minor. It can be just not even a second, maybe a second or two, maybe a minute, maybe more. But in that precise moment, you are out of your body. Like you have a connection with something that it makes your entire world disappear. And in that precise moment, you are in an ultimate bliss feeling. That ultimate bliss is what resembles what I believe is the God feeling of being connecting with all there is, being weightless, not having a body, not concerned about a body, not concerned about bodily needs and everything else we normally care about, how we look. And it's like when you're in the ecstasis, in the orgasm, when you're in this perfect moment of ultimate bliss or ecstasis, in that moment, I believe this is where humans have like the feeling of like God connection. Maybe that's why I talked about light bodies also, that it could be someone who is addicted to that, like the light body experience, having like someone who is consumed with becoming connected with God. You know, like they are consumed with the existence of God, consumed by some kind of religious cult, or, you know, something that I'm not saying whether it's so-called positive or negative, like whether it's a good cult or a good religion or a bad religion, or no, you can decide that. I'm talking about what it is that they're looking for. What is it they're looking for? They're looking for this perfect moment, like this, or you could say an outer body experience, a near-death experience for some. Again, drugs can maybe give you that, like this, you're just on the brink of, and in that moment, it's like you're floating, perhaps like the feeling of floating out of your body. And some people, like it's a special high, right? It's a special high, and some may find it in like blissful meditation without any kind of drugs or something, and others, they find it in a different, maybe drug like drug-induced, you could say, state of being, just for a while, just for a moment, just for a minute, just for half an hour. In that moment, everything disappears. Everything is gone. You're in this, like, your brain is in this, like, dopamine flourishing field, you could say. And everything else around you, all kinds of earthly matters and quarrels and trouble and money and whatever, everything disappears in that moment. And that makes it all worthwhile, right? That little moment is what is the kick driver for any addict, I believe. To kind of defeat this, or to figure out how to work with addicts, I think you need to understand this. You need to understand that this little tiny thing is that's what they are thinking about. That's what they are absorbed by. And when they are in this moment, everything else disappears. It comes back right when they are getting out of this bliss feeling. It retrieves. There's less and less drug, or the dopamine kick is now lessening in the brain. The real world comes back. The real world comes back, and the pressure and all the thoughts of everything, it comes right back. So now they are out of the bliss feeling. So what do? They search for the next bliss feeling. So how to get the money, how to buy the drug or whatever. That's what they're doing. And that's the loop that they are in, like that. They will give you up and down and up and down and up and down like that. It's a dopamine high, dopamine low, dopamine high, dopamine low. And that is a tumultuous life. That is a dramatic, tumultuous, survival-oriented way of going. And you can take it to a lesser the dopamine is like the reward hormone, right? It's a part of it's a hormone in the brain that kicks out when the reward is there. The reward can come from any kind of you can win the Olympics, right? You can win a certain game in your gambling or in your gaming circle. You can have a school at athletics and you win it, right? You will have a certain amount of dopamine kicking in when it comes, right? When you don't know how to get the rewards, like if you are in a position where you don't really know how to, maybe you don't feel you are good at anything, like you don't have that success in an area, you are trying to find it somewhere else, perhaps. And you can do that in a drug. You can do it in maybe alcohol or drugs, or, as I said, gaming or gambling, or, well, there are also other kinds of addictions, like a love addiction, for instance, which has to do with the connection with the person you're with. We could talk about it as a trauma bond. And another word for some of this is limerence. You can look some of this up if you don't know what it is, but the point is that it has to do with the close relationship you're in. And as the Lovers card got out here already, I want to say there could definitely be some dynamic going on with another person in your life that you love dearly. You love them very much. Or maybe you should take a closer look at that, whether it is love, whether it's codependency, whether it's limerence, whether it is like an idea in your brain, an idyllic idea in your brain about something or someone, and whether that is actually real or not. Again, I can't tell you if you want to connect with God, for instance. Do that if you believe this is right for you. Is the God connection an illusion? I don't know. Is the God connection real? I don't know. I don't know. I just know that people thrive for something. And they get that dopamine out of some do bungee jumping, right? Some need the fear to push out the reward. Like, to overcome that fear is like reward giving, right? It's like it opens, overcoming the fear opens another door for something. I don't know which one is good or bad or anything. I just know what drives people. I know that we are driven by this. Otherwise, if we don't have some of this in our lives, the life gets really plain. Like, it gets really... There is no reward. There's no joy then. There's also no sadness necessarily. Like, then it becomes well, there could be sadness, but if you don't find a way to somehow have the feelings of joy or happiness or reward, it's like, then it becomes rather plain. Maybe there's something about, I feel like there's something that you need to know something about dopamine and serotonin and something like that. And adrenaline. I think that maybe that can help you to understand what happens in your brain. Sometimes falling in love with someone, or so-called falling in love with someone, is not love at all. Like, it's a trauma bond. It's a codependency memory from once when you were younger that is experienced again when you meet someone with a similar energy as the one you had your codependence with as a child, for instance, a parent. This new one has a similar energy, and you fall in love with them because it's familiar. You think it's the person in your life. You fall in love with them. They may fall in love with you if they have had a similar experience, just the opposite, like the opposite of you, but in a similar relationship. It's just a repeating of a cycle. And I know when I say that, I really take the romance out of it. I get it. But I had to face this myself, and I have been like overly romantic. Like my young girlish life, I romanticized this idea of finding the real person and soulmate and everything. I just and when it didn't work out, it was great in the beginning, but then when it didn't work out, I saw myself repeating some patterns, and I realized there's something I'm missing here, right? There's something that I seemingly don't get about this. And I realized how I have been driving on this dopamine up and down and up and down. Like, a love addiction can be as simple as, let's say in school you have a crush on someone. So when you are in school, there is a potential that you can meet this person, see them, hang around with them. Maybe they are in the same class as you. So just seeing them kicks in this high in the brain. When you go back from school, you go back to your parents, you go back to your house, And in this space, there is no real chance to see this person or to have interaction with them. This is where you can become low, right? You can become low here, more sad, a little more like retrieved, feeling alone, and so on. And then when you go back again, you can have this, when they just come around the corner, it's like bing, it kicks in like that. Like a reward. It's like it, or this, it's the same thing as any addict. But this is just different. This has to do with a special personality type. This is a person. It's not a drug you buy around the corner. Like, let's say this is someone you work with. If you work with this one and you haven't said anything to them, right? You are just maybe a bit secretly having a crush on them, and they are seemingly maybe disregarding you. They don't seem to have any interest. Now you're in this strange limerence thing going on. Right? Every time you see them, bing, it kicks in like that in your brain. And it keeps you addicted. You don't know when it happens. You may not know when they come in. You may not know when they are out of the office. Or maybe, again, in school, maybe they are not in your class, right? They are in a different class. And when you see them, bing, it kicks in like that in your brain. It keeps you hooked. It's the absolute same thing as when the gambler is putting their money on a number and the wheel spins, for instance. There is this feeling that there's a potential for me getting the big success, the big prize. And right about when the wheel is almost about to stop, you can feel this anxiety, this rush of something coming in, and it's going to happen. It gets close, and then if you win, yay, right? And if you don't win, right? There's this rush of something. But the thing is that you don't know if it's going to happen. You don't know if you will win the prize. But it's the idea of it, the idea of the prize. The idea of it, the dream of it, the longing for something, the desire for something. That's what keeps you hooked. I never thought I was an addict. I've never been a smoker, and I've never been overly drinking as a young person or something like that. I always kept like a clean slate somehow in that way. But I was definitely an addict. Totally codependent and in a trauma bond, which is an addiction. And it's terrible because it relates to a person. And if this person is in your life to a certain extent, you will be hooked on that. Like it can keep you hooked and preoccupied, so that there are other things in your life that you're not doing. You're not paying attention to it. Like it becomes secondary. As I said, the only thing the addict thinks about is the next high. The next, in this case, the next time you see the person, the next time you hook up, the next time you are with them, the next time they look in your eyes or smile, the next time you have an emoji from them or a message, the next time you can be totally preoccupied with this, like any other addiction. It's terrible, because it's a person. And if this, let's say this is someone in your family, like I don't know, a cousin or something, and you live nearby, you see them every day. This is difficult because then you literally have to get that person out of your life. You have to get them out of your life. That's the rehab, right? But that's what we say with any other addict. They go to rehab to get the drug out of their system. In this case, it's like there's a person. There's someone there. You literally need to get them out of your system. And furthermore, you need to become aware, why is it that you get hooked on them? What do they have? What kind of personality? What are they occupied with? What are their hobbies? What is their personality? How do they treat you? That's very important. How do they treat you? Do they even see you? The codependency sometimes comes because of inconsistency, right? That a parent has not been consistent. So it becomes this, like you're looking for them, waiting and looking for them. So you can sit in procrastinating, waiting for someone, looking for them, hoping for them, and everything. And then they show up, and then you're hooked. Then you're happy, right? And then they leave again. And they may be gone for, I don't know how long. And then suddenly they come back, oh, you're hooked again. It's a breadcrumb. It's really bad. So there is a lot of time, as again, an addict, they may have, let's say, they take this drug and they may have half an hour where they are like really, really high on something. Like that's the ultimate high, right? And they space out and like they are in the like a almost like being unconscious state. And then they return, they come back, right? And then they use the rest of the time to get the money for the next high, for the next half hour or 20 minutes or something. So they use all this time where they are preoccupied only with getting the next high. They're using all of their effort during that time for the rest of the day. Everything they do is concerned about the next high. It's the same thing with a love addiction. I've talked about it before, and when the lovers is here, I think it could be something like that, Sagittarius, that you really have to kick someone to the curb. Right? That you really have to become aware of this. Like the door slam, right? You really have to become aware that there's someone in your life, perhaps, who has some kind of power over you, or you're hooked with them. If they just show themselves, or you think about their name, and that makes it so difficult, right? That if they live in your neighborhood, if they are part of your family, if they and you see them from time to time, they are around, it's difficult to get them out of your system. Like you may need to leave, you may need to walk away, you may need to move. And then be very careful that you're not meeting a new one who is just a replacement for this one. Like you can meet a new one where the exact same thing is going on. So it's like you need to know your addiction. Right? You really have to get to know your addiction, at least if you want to get out of it. If you want to get out of it so that your mind can actually maybe build something for you, right? As I said, you're preoccupied with that person. You're waiting for them. You long for them. You look out the window for them. You are spotting or stalking or reading everything about them online and something like, you're very preoccupied with this. And it means it takes your time away from like actual things that you could do, like actual things you could build for yourself. you know, like things you could really become good at and skilled at. Like you could sharpen your wit, you could sharpen your knowledge in an area or something, right? And you could do that. But when this person is around, you can't do that because you're preoccupied with them. Like they become your drug. I don't know if you've seen any of these mouse studies. I believe there's been several done where, well, there's a mouse, and then there's this food dispenser where there is a little trick. The mouse has to push a pellet or a bottom to get a little food treat coming out for it. And first you give the mouse the mouse needs to know that it must push the bottom to get it. So in the beginning, every time the mouse pushes the bottom, there will be a reward. Like when you push the bottom, the reward comes, you become a treat. And the mouse is very happy, so it keeps pushing the bottom and it comes out. But then if you change this scenario, the mouse now knows that when pushing it has learned, when I push the bottom, a reward comes. When you now changed it to a random pattern of sometimes there is a reward, sometimes there's no reward. This messes up the brain for the mouse. The mouse keeps pushing, right? And there's no reward coming. It frustrates the mouse. It becomes obsessed with the bottom. Like it becomes obsessed with having the reward because now it has been created in the brain. The reward system, the dopamine kick, has been created. So it still wants it. Like it still looks for it. And it pushes the bottom, but there's no reward coming. This like makes almost a little breakdown in the brain, right? Because it has expected, it is expecting the reward, it is expecting the high, it is respecting the treat to come. But it's not coming. This is the recipe of creating an addict. Because they get obsessed with the treat of getting it, getting the reward, getting the thing that they so want. And when when you can't have it, when it's not coming, you're doing everything you must. You're doing everything you've learned to push the bottom, but it's not coming. This is like what creates that addiction. It's highly addictive. And I think this is a thing that everyone needs to become very much aware of. Because an addiction takes away your free will. When you are addicted to something, you have no free will. The addiction is your will. It has taken over. It controls your brain. You have no free will if you are addicted. I'm not saying it's... I believe that most of us are addicted to a certain point, to just something like random as the food we eat, carbohydrates, sugar, caffeine, or caffeine. I don't know. You can take anything. I'm not, and it's not that it's bad. We do need carbohydrates. We do need, to a certain extent, it's part of our diet to keep the brain going. But it depends on what it is that you are, and how often and how much Again, it leads to obesity, whatever, all these kinds of stuff. So it's if you want to not be addicted and have the real free choice in your life to do what it is that you want, you have to become aware of this. Okay, let's have this one. 9 of Fire. Overall energy, 9 of Fire, 9 of Wands. I would say 9 of Wands typically for me is a card of being rather exhausted. Exhausted by the things that are around you that really feels like a burden. I've had the 9 of Fire, or sorry, the 10 of Fire come out in several of the previous readings. And this is where you let the burden down. That's where you put it down. When you are at the 9, you haven't really put it down yet. Like you are considering it. It's exhausting you. You know that you are carrying something or have been involved in something, occupied with something, but you haven't come to the point where you are now saying, okay, now I go to rehab, or now I put this enormous responsibility down or something. Now I let out this story. Now I say this truth, or now I give up, you would say. Fire can sometimes be about your will, like your willpower, right? The 10 of Fire, I sometimes also see that as like giving up. Like you give up fighting, right? You give up fighting with something. Another person, you give up fighting. Again, as I said, if you're addicted to something, you have no free will. That's an illusion. The will only concerns about the drug or the next high. Actually, when I look at her, I don't see her as that exhausted. Actually, I see her as from little, you are now creating big something here. I see it a little bit like, again, a high, creating this high, having this moment, this extreme moment of something, extreme moment of clarity. Again, I don't know what it is that you're looking for, or what it is that you may be involved in, Sagittarius, but if this is about enlightenment, the star here, if this is like that you have this build up, epiphany, right? Build up, epiphany, feeling that you are hooked on the epiphanies, or you're hooked on the I don't know, awakening journey. You're hooked on the truths that you find, right? That can also almost become an addiction, right? That you, in the spiritual sense, if you are looking for this enlightenment, this God experience, this light body experience, this outer body experience, it could be that like the star is usually, at least that's how I see the star, it's about an epiphany. It's where you feel connected with something that is out of this world, or a brand new idea, a brand new theory, something that is otherworldly somehow. And I feel like it starts very small, and then it becomes bigger and bigger, and bing, then there's this epiphany of something, or this like when the star becomes this big, it's like this is where you have the kick, this is where you have the epiphany, this is where you feel the bliss, this is where you have the connection, this is where everything is like perfectly aligned. We could even talk, I don't know, a stellium, like maybe there's a stellium in your personal chart here where the stars or the planets are, like aligning here. Um, the aligning here could also talk about that something needs to have a certain order, to somehow bring this, like to bring this high forward, or this opening of something forward here, that something has to be in a certain order, and then it can come, right? Then I'm ready. Then it's now I get something like sexual foreplay, and something that there's something like it builds and builds and bang, then you have the orgasm or something. But I hope you get my point of this, that there's something, but the 9 always suggests for me that it's an exhaustion, right? It's an exhaustion to be in this constant loop of from having nothing to having a little bit more, and then you can have the high. As I said, like being on the street looking for money to buy the next drug, to have this high, right? That this has become like a real burden of low and high and low and high and low and high, right? And this is in your awareness. Maybe you have realized this. Maybe you know this. Maybe you are aware of this. And of course, if you're an addict, this is your entire life. But maybe this is something else. Like, as I said, the epiphanies here of a spiritual enlightenment can be thrilling. They can be like eye-opening. They can feel like your brain explodes in this wow, like a wow feeling, right? Every time you have a wow feeling about something, that could be also perhaps an addiction, right? That you are addicted to the wow feeling of something, realizing something amazing about the cosmos, or yourself, or something like that. But it could be like it takes a while to have it, right? Or maybe this only comes very, very, that you have most of this other thing going on. Like an addict, right? The most of the day they are out there. They are out on the street looking for, they are maybe in a store trying to steal something. They live on the street. They do all kinds of stuff, prostitute themselves maybe, or something, to get the money for the next thing. So maybe it feels like maybe you are wondering if it's worth it, like the struggle you go through with something, to have some kind of epiphany, or this high of something, that maybe it's not worth it, right? That the burden of this, there's too much burden to get to this little feeling, even though it is big, and it's like wonderful and enormous and like over the top connectedness, right? That maybe it's not worth it, like, or to take the final step towards something, maybe it's not worth it, right? That every time you want an epiphany of something, you go through so many different things to have it. Or I said, if this is like mind-opening, like spiritual kind of drugs, like ayahuasca or something, maybe it's not worth it, right? That it has become this evil cycle of something, that now you need it. Like now you actually need this drug, otherwise you can't. I think that some artists, like back in time, like they have become like that. They couldn't paint, or they couldn't write in a certain manner unless they were smoking some kind of weed or something, right? They couldn't be in this creative process, like bringing your mind into this creative space where there is so much to be gained. But it takes work, or it takes something here to do that on a regular basis, or just by will. Will alone can't do this. Like I need some kind of what's that called? Like a I need help, you could say, to get to this. Like a bodybuilder using steroids, right? I can't become a big star here unless I use steroids. Or I can't become like a bike rider, a professional bike rider, without these performance enhancing drugs. But it's a burdensome cycle. Like to keep myself up in the elite realm, right? If to keep myself up in the elite realm, or in the realm of bliss, or God state, I now need this drug to get there, or I need this ritual, or I need this, I don't know, I need to smoke this, or I need to do this, otherwise I can't get there, right? And that is like a burden, that you are looking for this. Like this has become the priority, right? And then most of your other routines during the day is occupied with being out of it. Like when you are here, it's perfect. It's absolutely amazing. But when you are away from it, it feels so low. Like look at how small these, like there's so little of them, right? There's so little bliss, or so little happiness, or so little joy. But when you are with them, this person, or when you are in this bliss, or in this illusionary state here, this is where you feel the bliss. But this cycle has now become like too much, right? It's very exhausting to kind of keep this cycle up here. And if you are somehow away from it, like let's say you are a gambler, or a gaming, you're into gaming, and you like sitting in front of the computer. If you are somehow away from it, let's say you take a vacation somewhere, you go somewhere with someone, and you can't sit in front of your computer, you haven't got your computer with you, or you're forced into some kind of other, I don't know, with work or something, you are away from home, right? You are now away from the things that give you this perfect joy here. And maybe you're realizing it, like you're realizing how you obsess about it, how you think about it, it's almost like your body is, like having withdrawal of some kind. And this can be anything. As I said, it could be sugar, it could be coffee, it could be anything that you realize, oh, I'm actually having a withdrawal now. I feel it. I feel that I haven't seen this person in like 2 days now, and I'm going out of my mind. Like, what are they doing? Where are they? I long for them. I miss them. I want to be in their presence, something like that. Realizing that codependency, realizing that it's like you can't cope, like you can't concentrate, you can't focus. It has a hold on you. That's when you know you are hooked on something. It's not like they are doing it, they are doing something on purpose. It's not like they are hunting you in your dreams. It's rather that you hunt them. You're the one hooked. They're not doing anything. Okay. Underlying energy, 10 of air. So here I have a 10. And 10 suggests that something needs to be over. Like it's a completion of something. A completion of... it wants to complete, I want to say. It's a driver inside you here. It comes forward here and it's driving a process forward. You have come to a conclusion. You have come you could say, 10 suggests that you're ending a cycle. You have come to the fulfillment, to the conclusion. You have figured something out. You have realized something. You have overcome something, perhaps. The 8 of this is air, is Swords energy. Sword is about your mind. It's about how you think, your perception, your social construct of the world. And in this, we also have codependency. Swords energy is everything you think about yourself and others. So this is how you think about yourself. If you, let's say you think that you're not good enough, you are not handsome or beautiful enough, that you're not skilled enough, you're not, it can also be the other ones. I'm good at this, I'm confident, I love this, this is my dream. This is also visualization, dreams, the most wonderful dreams that you could ever have, you could say. The most wildest dreams or craziest dreams. And I have actually the cover for your video here today, and for all the other videos, talks about the wildest dreams, Sagittarius. The wildest dreams could be that you want to be with someone, or that you want to be in this state all the time. That is your wildest dream. And if you are Sagittarius, you are, if you have become a seeker in life, Sagittarius, and you are on a spiritual journey, Sagittarius is said to be the truth teller, the truth finder, the truth teller, the one that speaks the truth, that is not lying, that is not doing anything, that is speaking the truth as how they see it. And that can also be why this is here, right? That you have become obsessed with epiphanies, truths, that this lightens up your day. Like this is like a dopamine kick. Like every time you get this, you come to some kind of meditative understanding about something, or you feel like in that, precisely in that moment, I felt I was connected with God, or I was in this presence of angelic presence or something. In that moment, I got a message. In that moment, I figured something out, right? I figured something out here, but it requires a cycle for you to get there, right? And I think you have understood it, that you either you are on the brink of something, like you know that in a moment I shift from 9 to 10, and when I get to the 10, I'm letting something go, right? Here I'm resisting to let something go, perhaps. I'm resisting to let something go here, because it is my wildest dream. Like in here, I feel so high, you could say. In here, I have the wildest, maybe most crazy, most unbelievable dream here. That's what I have here. You would know what that is if this resonates with you. And I'm here. But to keep it up, to have it, to maybe proclaim it, you know, like, I don't know, being a the palm queen here. Being the fashion queen, you know, like keeping this up, this star element, this... I don't know what this is for you, right? But maybe for an athlete, this would be that you need to keep in shape. Like you need to be able to perform on an elite level, right? To have this star quality about you, or have this star experience, you have to be the star, right? Or you have to get in tune with this. You have to align with it. You have to align with the star quality, and maybe that feels exhausting. right? It's like to be this one, I need again the performance enhancing drug. Otherwise, I can't show this. I can't show up like this. I can't have this experience. I can't. And there's so much to do for me. Like for me, it requires so much before I get it. And that is what you're realizing here. You're realizing that I'm on the brink now of needing to let this go. Like the next step is the 10. And maybe you don't want it, right? You still want to be here or keep this up or maintaining something here. You have not quite come there yet. You know that it's exhausting. You know that it requires too much of you. But you're not quite there yet. And this is what is pushing it forward. And as I just said, you know that it's knowing thoughts here, right? Yeah. You have come to the realization. 10 is the completion, right? You have come to the realization that you know that it must stop. You know it must stop. You know that it must stop, right? As when an addict really hits rock bottom and they're realizing I'm going to die from this. I really, and I can't take care of myself. I don't really have any free will. I need help, right? I need help. This would be the inner knowing that you are out on deep water. You're realizing that's the 10. You come to you've come to a realization about something. You can no longer, lie to yourself. You can no longer lie to others. You can no longer put a mask on or this is where I would say this is like a rock bottom realization. And this is a driver that's in you. It's pushing a process forward here. It pushes slowly but surely a process forward. You have the awareness. You know that this, whatever is going on here, it can continue. You know it. Like you know that this is, and that's why it feels also like a 9, right? You know that keeping this up is extremely exhausting. Like it's very exhausting. And that's why the 10 is here. The 10 wants to release, right? The 10 is seeking a release. As I said, here it's like you're still holding on to it. But when you come to the 10, you're letting it go. Here, it's the same thing. The 9 suggests that you still hold on to some kind of thought pattern. You still have a little lie, or you still lie to yourself, or you're still self-sabotaging to a certain point. The 10 means that you're saying, I'm ready now. I'm letting it go. I release it, right? I need the transformation, perhaps. I no longer want to be trapped in my mind here. The 10 of air, I would say, is like a release. It's you don't want to be trapped. Like you're releasing certain thoughts. You're releasing an outcome also, I want to say. Like maybe you've been holding on to some kind of outcome with maybe another person. That you've been holding on to some kind of dream. Some kind of hope, perhaps. But when you come to the 10, you're releasing that. You are saying, I'm done. I'm done with the mind games. I'm done with sabotaging myself. I'm done with a mind prison or something here. I'm done with that. I don't want to hold anyone else in there, and I don't want to be in one myself. I'm done with that. I'm really done with it. The 10 suggests that you are really done. You have looked at every aspect, every shadow aspect. There's nothing more you can do, you could say. But realizing this is the end. This is the completion. I can come no further. There is no more lie. Like there's nothing I can come up with now that can tell me that this is good for me. Like it's playing with fire here. I play with fire, or I try to, like, again, overperform or be something I'm not, to like uphold a fire here. Again, a performance or something. You need to be the athlete. You need stimulation just to get through college, you know, like, and it has become a vicious cycle. I would say this is a vicious cycle of something. But it hasn't come to the 10 yet. You're not quite prepared to give it up. You are not, or at least, well, I think you know it. Like, again, this is the driver in you. Deep down, you know. Your gut feeling tells you. Your gut feeling tells you, let it go, right? It's not right for you. But there's something here tricky about the fire energy, because fire, again, as I said, it relates to our desires, our dreams, our passions. It relates to obsessions, and they can be highly addictive. So therefore, it may not be that easy to just, again, you can have a knowledge here. I know several people who know that they should actually stop smoking. They are aware of it. They know it's unhealthy. Maybe they have even been treated. For instance, my brother, he has been in cancer treatment for lung cancer. Like aggressive invasive treatment for lung cancer. He's still smoking. He says he doesn't know how to get out of it. He knows, like his logical mind knows that he should be stopping, but his body and everything else, his brain is highly addicted still, right? It's like, and that is a vicious cycle. But whom I'm talking to here is like, really, there's nothing more you can lie to yourself about or tell yourself that is somehow in any way like an excuse for this anymore. Right? There's no excuse left. There's no lie you can tell yourself. There's nothing you can tell yourself anymore. What this is highly destructive for you. And I think you know it. Like, it's here. It is a driving force in you that keeps telling you, repeating. It repeats it. This is not good for you. You know this. You should stop this. End this cycle. Let go of it. So your rational mind has realized this. That there's nothing rational about keeping this up. There's nothing rational about keeping this up. I get envy. I get divine guidance. I get the staff. So, and if I look at this, it's like, I feel like an incoherence between these two energies. If I look at the divine guidance, again, the divine guidance goes with the 10 of air here. You are definitely guided by your guides, by your higher self, by your intuition to let something go here. These go together, right? This is the higher self. This is it says here, the search for meaning in life. Consider an alternative approach. Surround yourself with wise teachers and friends. That's what also your inner guidance tells you. Your gut feeling, or what you want to call it, your intuition guide. This is what it says. Stop this. Stop what you're doing, right? Do something else. Seek other teachers, or like maybe go to rehab. Find other friends. What you are indulging in here is not good for you, right? The envy card suggests that you're looking for something that is greener, right? That there's always something else that you're hungering for. Like that, there's always something like she is never really satisfied with what she has. She always wants what's not hers, what's on the other side of the fence, what potentially could be hers, but it's not hers yet, right? So she is like everything that is in her own perimeter, you could say. She doesn't think about it. Like she takes that entirely for granted, and there's no color in it. It's dull, it's boring, it's convenient, it's always there. It is, again, this could be someone who, like they have great family life. They have a great home, they have a great spouse, they have beautiful children, but they are always on the lookout for some kind of adventure. Maybe a new sexual thing, maybe an affair, maybe a new job, maybe the job you have is never good enough. The money you have, the jewelry, the clothes, it's an obsession with new. It's an obsession with new or something you feel you don't have or you're separated from. That you're separated from something, and that something is what controls your mind. As I said, again, they are constantly on the lookout for this, meaning that they are neglecting what is else here. They're neglecting totally what is else here. So maybe the spouse, maybe the children, maybe the home, the garden, their work. Like they're not really, it says envy, but I think it's more than that. It's an obsession with what they feel is not theirs. So like they want ownership of more. It's an inner feeling of needing to conquer or have or own or possess more or something different. Again, her gown is not very it probably is or was a beautiful gown, but in her eyes it's dull and boring and not interesting. This is someone who is always on the lookout for fascination. Like they always look for fascination, right? Again, this card here, that it's only this. It's only when I'm in touch with this, like this here, you say, or I put him like this. It's only when I'm in touch with this, like this one, then I feel this, the high. Then I feel content. This is a person that is never content. Like they're never content. Like they're constantly on the lookout for the next new thing, the next new high, the next new fashion item, the next new accomplishment, the next new win, or the next new something. And they're not even paying attention to the room they live in, the things they have, the food that's on the table, the money that is paid, or they are totally occupied with their obsession, with their, as I said, addiction here. That's how I see it. So the cards were laying like this, and actually normally I turn them, but it's so obvious here for me how they go together here, right? Like that. I hope you can see them. I can put the camera a little closer here. It's almost like, again, it's so obvious that it's in your face. Like it's like, get it, right? Like someone or something wants to put it right in your face. Or you want to put it right in someone else's face, like the door slam, right? There is this, get over yourself, right? Or can't you see it? can you really not see this? Can't you see how it is affecting your life, how it has taken over, how you can't you see it, right? That's it has that megaphone, like it has the megaphone to it. I don't know if the wildest dream of yours is to stay in this addiction. That the wildest dream is this constant hunt for, I don't know, approval, win, success, gain, ownership perhaps, possession, power. It could be power also, right? Definitely power. Power can definitely be one here as well. You know, like owning something, owning someone, like having ownership or power over someone, or having power in general, like seeking the goals of life, like the golden life, right? So climbing the ladder, wanting more and more and more and more. This is a wanting more energy. And the more and more and more you want, the more burdensome it becomes. Like it's a... I also want to say it probably becomes burdensome to find new, right? Like that maybe there's not always new to find, right? If let's say, well, when you were a child, the first little flower in the garden was maybe a wow, right? But now you have seen that flower like 50,000 times. There's nothing special about that flower anymore, right? So you look for the next flower, and then it's a wow when you see it. This is gorgeous. This is beautiful, right? But you have seen this now 100,000 times. It's not that interesting anymore, right? And I think that if you are this like have this in you, it's like everything you have already seen. You know, like everything you have already seen, tasted, you know, like you have listened to all kinds of music, you have tried all kinds of stuff, you have bathed in all kinds of water, you have tried all kinds of soap, all kinds of jewelry, all kinds of, I don't know, shopping experiences. You own every designer bag you can imagine. You have tasted it all. You have smelled it all. You have tried it all. You know, like you have been out there. Like maybe now it becomes like a burden to find this. It's a burden to have this high. It's a burden to find that kick. Or as I believe with certain addicts, that the body becomes adjusted to, let's say, the alcohol. So now you need to drink more to have the same experience, right? You need to do more. Once maybe you ran your first marathon and you won it, right? You ran the first, or you ran the marathon and you didn't win it. But then you ran your 10th marathon and you won it. And now it's like, well, wow, I had that great feeling. So now I need to run another one and another one and another one and another one, or I have to speed it up. Now it's not 42 kilometers, now it's 50, or now it's 60, or now it's 100, right? That you're constantly on this look out for more somehow. When I look at this card, it's like, well, it looks like a giraffe, right? But there's this like aiming higher and higher and higher, or stretching the neck, even more and more and more and more to like get more, right? To get higher, to achieve higher, to achieve more, to go even further, right? To go further with the drugs, to mix the drugs, to go further with the ayahuasca, to go further into near-death experience, you know, like go further and further, because the kick is not the same. Like it's not, it becomes more and more obscure, you know, like it becomes more and more maybe dangerous, maybe toxic or poisonous, like it becomes more. The staff here talks about, it's a symbol of authority. It holds the power to temper extremes. Yeah, that's what I feel like. That there's something about extremes here. I said elite marathon runners, athletes, or extremes in another way, like, as I said, seeking near-death experience, seeking these, or bungee jump, or like these extreme dopamine rushes, right? There's something about these extremes, yeah. It holds the power to temper extremes, and that, you know, that's what I felt like. I wanted to balance it. I wanted to balance this extreme, like up and down, tumultuous kind of energy. It has this rush to it, and I wanted to temper it. I wanted to balance it, but I felt it was part of the story, part of the reading here. The staff helps you to find the right course of action, the way of the middle. Exactly, that's what I feel like. And aids you to maintain your balance after you begin walking in that direction. Moses carried a serpent staff through the desert, and with it he could summon the power of nature to heal or call plagues. The staff reminds you of the impermanence of all things, and that your authority must come from your deep longing to serve. You know how to flow easily between polarities, how to weigh all possibilities and instinctively select the right path. Trust your inner vision and take the first step on a journey that your heart has already embarked on. Use the power of the staff to unite what appears to be divided, to find that delicate balance between will and surrender. That's the invitation of this card, right? That you can use the power of the staff here. And the staff wants to temper extremes. That we have to remember, right? It wants you to find the way of the middle. Again, of you know, like sweet and sour. Find the way of middle, where you are still in charge, right? Where your free will is available, right? Where you're not sucked in to a dynamic where you lose it, right? You find the way of the middle here. That's the invitation. Use the power of the staff to unite what appears to be divided, to find a delicate balance between will and surrender. Because I do feel like that if you are in an addiction, you have at some point surrendered to it. At some point, something in you surrendered to the addiction. Right? That is something that you can get back. You can get some of this balance back if you are in that situation. It says here, as a medicine, you could say, it says you are caught in the delicate balance between opposing forces, between masculine and feminine, between action and non-action. Use this to your advantage, as there can be no day without night, no low without high, no wrong without right. This is the time to take corrective action, beginning with your beliefs about what needs to be fixed or repaired. Let destiny take its course, nudging its slight slightly along. And somehow I feel like when I do this, as I said already, it's like you do know something here. It's in you. It's embedded in you. It's like it's calling you to finalize something. It's calling you to finalize something, to take that final step, to do the final thing, to get out, there is no more excuse. There is no, there's nothing more to prove, perhaps, or there's nothing more to be gained. There's nothing more to be gained, right? So, and that it's a divine guidance that you have here. Like your higher self, your guidance, everything here tells you that this would be the right thing for you to do, right? That you know it, like your brain is clever, right? It knows it. There's something in you, it drives that forward. It's a process that is driving you to realize something here. To realize that you are maybe addicted, that you are in some kind of cycle, vicious cycle of something, and that cycle needs a balance. And maybe that's why I had the door slam, this, I have to say goodbye to this, right? I have to say goodbye to something or close the door right there. Because otherwise I can see myself going back to it. I can see myself looking at it. Again, if this one closes the door, so she can't see the outside. You know, like she can't see the outside. Then she's maybe forced to look around and see what she actually does have. So there's something about like really cutting yourself off what it is that is your nemesis here. Or again, if we talk about love addiction, right? Like you should stop looking at the internet and looking for information about them, right? You should literally, what is that called? Like a cold turkey? Like it requires a cold turkey. You should, the things that could, the thing that could draw your attention, right? The thing that she could possibly look at is usually because when she actually looks at what she has, she's not content with it. Meaning that the thing that is around her here, or her home, or what she may have manifested in her life, it's not. There's something to be gained in this acknowledgement. Why do you think that the things that are in your life is not interesting enough? Once they were, otherwise you wouldn't have bought them, or you wouldn't have gotten yourself there. You wouldn't have married the person. You wouldn't have. Why are they not good enough now? Why is it so great here? What is it that this out here possibly could add? Here it's quite like obvious, right? It's golden, it's colorful, it's bright, it can add light, you could say. Maybe a lightness, maybe a more playful tune. Like if this is gray and boring and dull and something, maybe you just want to add something because it somehow could bring light and joy and fun to your life. It can bring in diversity. It can bring some kind of in a rather numb or boring life. It brings excitement, right? Or it brings news. It brings so it brings something new into your life, because actually your life is pretty stagnant without this. And again, it can be a person, right? So without something here, someone feels quite stagnant, gray, dull, boring. But someone else here is not supposed to be your entertainment project, right? Or your... And again, then, because if that's the fact, you become codependent. You are now codependent on something here. You're codependent on something. If this is not around, that's what you get, right? You have this boring, dull, dead life somehow. Maybe that's what you have to realize, that this is how you feel about yourself. That this is the core. You feel dead. You feel not alive. You feel uninspired. Maybe you feel you are not interesting. That there's nothing interesting in your life. But the things that are here is what you've manifested. Why have you manifested things that are not interesting, or that were only interesting for a moment? It tells us something about you, doesn't it? It tells us how your mind works, that things are only fun for a short period of time. Why are the things that you have around you not interesting and great and fun? And why are you not? Why are you not fun? Why are you not, like this can be someone who's very serious, overly serious. And out here there's play and fun, and again, it can be a person, right? So it's like you're longing for maybe play and fun and freedom. The reason why this is dull is maybe because you felt trapped. Again, before the 10 of air here, there was a 9 of air, and there has been an 8 of air also. The 8 of air talks about feeling trapped, like feeling you are in this like a mind prison where you can't get out. The 9 of swords is a depressive mode. It's a worrying and depressive mode that you feel very, very unhappy. And that would be this, right? That you feel very, very unhappy here. That you want to come to a point where you don't feel unhappy, where you're not trapped by your mind. Or again, here we can have shame and fear and guilt and, the programming you have had when you grew up. That there's something in you that wants to remove everything, that wants you to have freedom. The 10 of air, I would say, is like mind freedom. That you have freed yourself from everything that you have been hearing, that has been told, that has been programmed into you. You are free from expectations from society and I don't know, any other kinds of I hear labor, right? But any kind of work or labor, any kind of things you were supposed to do, right? Things you ought to do, things you ought to think, things you ought to take care of, things you should take care of. This is the freedom of that. So you have like a driver in you that wants you to free you from some of this, which is a good thing. And you feel it, like you do feel that changes must come, that you have to get yourself maybe out of this, right? That you know that maybe I must take a look at my life, or I must take a look at myself. Why is it that I feel that what I have is not enough, or what I am is not enough? That I'm this great person. Why can't I seem to have fun? Why can't I seem to see the light in everything instead of like the problems in everything? Why do I see my life as a challenge, or sorry, as a problem and not a challenge? Why is it that I don't feel that I have what it takes to just be that one? You know, like to just do that, or to just be that one. Why do I feel so miserable about myself? Again, I believe that someone who feels very miserable about themselves are easily prone to become addicts. They're easily prone to that. Easily prone to become someone who gets fascinated by something outside of yourself, or addicted to something outside of yourself, because you believe you don't have it, that you don't have what it takes, or you only have what it takes maybe if you drug yourself, or you know, like you have to perform extraordinary, and to do that you have to become someone else, or you have to look like someone else, or you have to dress like someone else, act like someone else. And it's not who you are, right? It's not who you really are. So the staff is really here to suggest that you should find somewhere in the middle. That fire can become as a one wand, like the Ace of Wands is an inspiration. It's a motivation. It's an inspiration. It's something that motivates and inspires you to take some kind of action. It feels thrilling. It feels exciting. It feels maybe adventurous. It feels new, and it feels great. And that's just one wand. That's where you have that's where the fire energy is great, right? That's where it is absolutely amazing, because it can take you from a stagnant position into actually taking action towards something. You feel inspired. You feel that, wow, that's what I want to, that flower I want to pick, right? I want to go there. I want to see that. I want to have that. But when I want to have that experience. But it's like when you have experienced everything, or you have seen everything in the garden, you have seen everything around the world, you have watched every movie, you have that feeling, right? And it's never saturated. This is like a hunger that never saturates. And you have to figure out why you have this hunger. Why can you never be saturated? Right? Why is it? Again, if this is something about, you know, as I said in the beginning, the light body being united with God or something, if you feel like you can never be saturated with that you are constantly looking for it, you're constantly longing for it, you've had it once, like you felt it once, and you're constantly looking for it. This can be a sex addiction also, right? That you're constantly on the lookout for the next orgasm, or the next, like, that you have a really hard time controlling these energies, because they have gotten out of balance now. They control you, you're not controlling it, right? It's like something else has power over you. And if you really feel like you need that you need it from the outside world, or you need stimulation in your boring life, right? That you need someone to come in and present like news to you, right? Present the world to you, present new perspective, present new ideas to you, because you don't get them yourself. Why is that? Why is it that the life that you have here has become so grey? One thing you could start with here is to look at what you have and actually be grateful for it. Like, be grateful for the gown you wear. Be grateful for the house you live in. Be grateful for your, I don't know, your bed, maybe your television, or the family you have, if there are family here. Be grateful for I don't know, maybe also be grateful for the shadow or the dullness you feel. You know that sometimes we say to children, it's healthy to be bored, because that's when you get creative, right? When you are bored enough, you become creative. Then eventually it becomes so stagnant that you can't seem to it becomes unbearable. The stagnancy becomes unbearable, and that's when you get up and do something about it, right? That's when you get up and you start to dust everything off, and you take the curtains aside and you look outside, or you water your plants or something. That's when you start to do something. When something becomes stagnant enough, boring enough, or uninspiring enough, eventually it's like you can't stand it, and then you start doing something. As opposed to someone comes and does it for you. Someone comes in and gives you some kind of aspiration. Because when they do that, you don't have to face this. You know, this could be also like you are someone, you would rather have a friend come to tea and have the conversation with them than actually cleaning your home. You know? Or that your house is untidy perhaps, but you don't want to look at it, so you look at television instead, right? You go to your addiction or your relief. You go to the relief, because when I look at the television movie here, it's more exciting than actually tidying up my home. This is boring, right? And this is exciting. So I'd rather do that. Again, it gives you a different kind of reward and dopamine feeling than tidying up and taking care of the boring stuff. But sometimes we may need to take care of the boring stuff, or the sad stuff, or the problems in our lives or something. Sometimes we need to go there as well and tidy that up, do that as well, right? Sometimes and that's the balance here again. I think that life is not life is not a constant a fortune wheel of presents, right? Or a roller coaster, a fun roller coaster ride. Life is not a constant candy store experience. Sometimes there's something else that needs to be done as well. And if you are prone to somehow go for the dopamine kick, like, you know, you're prone to look at the television instead of tidying up your home, or you'd rather go out and visit some friends than taking care of a sad situation in your home, or your children are unhappy, or it's a mess, like something is in a messy state here. Then I'd rather escape it and go out here and have some kind of experience, because being here all alone by myself, for instance, is maybe like, this is where I become low, right? I become low in my experience. It's not fun. And that's also when the dopamine is not coming, right? The dopamine doesn't come when you sit in, well, unless you are addicted to sadness. If you're addicted to sadness and bickering, and you can have some sort of hormonal release, I guess, but it's not the same as the dopamine kick. But it is a thing. You can become addicted to sadness, suffering, and things like that. You can have that. You can have, as I said, the bungee jump thing is like you have this great fear, but then it's turned into something else when you actually jump, right? The greatest fear of jumping out there, and there's only this rope holding you. What if it snaps, right? And we know that it has happened, right? So it's a bit like if I do a bungee jump, am I playing with death here? Am I playing with my life? I'm risking something. Potentially I'm risking something that I'm very fearful of, dying, for instance, right? I'm very fearful of heights. I'm very fearful, but I can get an adrenaline rush from it. You know, so, and maybe that's the adrenaline that I felt. It's very, very rush-like, tumultuous energy. And adrenaline can come from many things, right? Adrenaline can be just as addictive, I believe, as other substance and other kinds of addictions. So I feel like an adrenaline kick or an adrenaline junkie here somehow. That there's something going on about that, right? And there's something about the boring. There's something to be realized in the boring here. I think I'm talking to someone who can't stand boring or mediocre. Like the mediocre, so-called boring life. Again, this being married and living in the suburbs. Like that would be like this boring, locked in life that you can only have certain experiences there, right? It's too mediocre, it's boring, it's dull. Maybe it feels like that you are in a prison, right? That you are, if you would ever end up in that situation, you would feel trapped. You would feel like you were in some kind of box that feels like it drains the life out of you. Like you are an adventure seeker, right? And I believe Sagittarius is that you are an adventure seeker. You like to see new or a new adventure, new bike paths, right? New paths in the forest to walk, new things to see, news in general. But I think that it's important to look at the boring. What is it that is so scary here? What is it that you are fearing here? Why does this seem so boring to you? I think there's something about the stagnancy, that it's not moving, like it's something that just stays the same, or somewhat the same. The same living room, the same bedroom. The children have the same rooms, the same color on the walls, the same talks with the neighbors, the same, like it's not fulfilling enough for you. It's like you're looking for something extraordinary. You want something to be extraordinary. Again, right? You're looking for this. You're not looking for mediocre. You're not looking for... And you can't find peace, I feel like. You can't find peace in mediocre. You can't find peace in the dull. But maybe you need to spend time in the dull. Like to really, to get to know what it is you hate about it. Why is it so dark for you somehow? Why is the mediocre the same house, you know, the same suburb, the same street, the same work, the same clothes, the same, the same conversations with your neighbors, the same... Why is it so frustrating? I get frustration here. Why is it so frustrating? I get the feeling of being boxed in, like you are boxed into being something or becoming something that you actually hate. Now I get something like, you know, like a globetrotter, like that would be your life, right? Being a globetrotter. But a globetrotter is free, right? Or at least that's how the archetypal idea in my head about the globetrotter. They are free. They're unmarried, they're single, they have no children. They have devoted themselves to a life of discovery. And they won't let anything stand in the way of that. Like that is the utmost perfect experience, right? To be the globetrotter. The one who goes out there, like is on a constant, like, but I also feel like it's because it's drained. Like here your energy gets drained, right? You become really sad and lonely, and every time you have an opportunity to get out and look at something, to see something new, again, the new path in the forest, right? You haven't walked there before, or you haven't seen it before, or you haven't gone there before. Just this idea of doing that is when you feel the high. That is when you feel the satisfaction. That is the desire, the desire of this ultimate freedom, perhaps, the globetrotter, right? Well, you come up with another thing if that makes more sense to you, but that's what I feel like, the discoverer, like the one that is always discovering, what is that? The fortune hunter, right? The free Indiana Jones fortune hunter, right? That's always out there, always on adventure, always like planning to find this special artifact, right? They are on the hunt. Actually, this is a hunter, right? They are a hunter. And if you put them in a marriage, you take that in like internal thing away from them. Like it's and therefore if someone like this gets married, they have to find that kick somewhere else. It's innately inbuilt in them. I think you are that one, Sagittarius. Like there's something in there that is, right, it stagnates. Your energy stagnates, your fire stagnates if you are put in a box. I believe that Sagittarius energy is a truth seeker, spiritually, or maybe, again, as I said, as a fortune hunter, or as a globetrotter. Like, that's what I feel. I said something about... you have seen everything. You have gone to all restaurants. You have tasted everything. You have flown I believe whom I'm talking to here, when they lay on their deathbed, they would look back on a life where they have discovered everything, right? That would be the ultimate goal for someone like this. Like they are like this adrenaline or dopamine seeker of new, like seeing new, touching new, speaking with new people, hearing the tune of a new language, the smell in the air in the Bangkok streets, you know, like that. There's something about this exploration that when you cannot explore, when that is taken away from you, again, and that can happen when you know, like you get a 9-to-4 job, or 9-to-5 job. You walk in the same street every day. Now I get the Truman Show, right? That you wake up the same morning, you get the same breakfast, you go out the same door, you cycle down the same road, you say hi to the same neighbors every morning, when the new newspaper get delivered at the same time. This repetitive routine-like life is not for you, Sagittarius, right? Not the one I'm talking to here. Like you want new, you want aspiration, you want diversity, you want but getting it, like getting the diversity if you are in a suburb marriage and you have a 9-to-5 job, getting it, like getting this kick, finding it every single day or every week or something becomes maybe more and more difficult for you here. Like that could be the 9, why we have the 9 here. It becomes more and more difficult to find it, right? Because there is such routine in your life. You know, and maybe you want to be, you know, like maybe you really want to become, you want to be faithful to your wife or your husband. You want to be a good mother. You know, you want to be this good mother. You want to be trustworthy and reliable at work. You want to be that one also. But it's killing you, right? It drains your energy to be in this situation. It drains your energy to be put in a box, to be looked at in a certain way, to not have freedom, to not go where you want to go, to not have the opportunity to find this, to be the globetrotter or to be the fortune hunter or whatever you could be obsessed about. Did I say that in the beginning? Something like maybe finding, you know, like, no, that was yesterday, I think. In the full moon reading, I said something about like a new cosmic theory of something, like being on the hunt of a new theory, you know, or it energizes you to be on the road. It energizes you to be on the path towards the final artifact or the final theory. The path towards it energizes you. It illuminates you. It gives you something to be on the path and then get the reward, right? That's the one I think I'm talking to, and you know it. Like, there is no more excuse, right? That this is inbuilt in you. There's no excuse. You can't find it anymore. Maybe it means you need to break out of a marriage. You need to break out of routine. You need to have more adventure, right? No matter what it is, like it's just this, I don't know, it's like a dog, right, that sniffs, like it needs to have new information, it needs to sniff something new, it needs to where I believe that other people, they may love the routine. And now I get like the bookkeeper, right? The archetypal bookkeeper persona, right? That likes order and structure and everything is in line and and it's dependable and solid and understandable, and it shows the result, like the 2 lines, it shows a clear result. Everything is transparent, everything is neat and orderly, and everything. That would be the bookkeeper, right? That kind of life, that is the horror movie for you, right? That is the horror sensation for you. Like, no, you need this other. You need the kick. You need to get out of the house. If you're married here, you need to get out of the house. Like, the house becomes this, like it strangles you. You cannot breathe here, right? It strangles you. And you may not even know why, right? Like, maybe you have no idea. Maybe you do like like you love your family, you love your friends, you love your children, and you want to be devoted to it, but it's strangling you. Like, and you may not understand why, or at least I think you have come to a conclusion about this. You have come to a conclusion that you need the freedom. You need to get out. You need to get out, right? It's like, I see her almost like she's looking up and taking, like, the attempt, like to jump up and fly, like to just like do the bounce here and then take off, like lift off. It's just before lift off. You have already decided. It is in you. It's the gut feeling. You have already decided you want the lift off. The lift off, the freedom to fly where you want to fly. You have that guidance. It's in you. You know it. You haven't done it quite yet. You're still in, you could say, your box. You're in the prison, or in the feeling of this dull prison. You feel the strangle around your neck. You feel, that's the 9 here, I think. You feel the strangle around your neck here, like you can't breathe here. It's like there's not enough air. There's not enough air. You need more air, right? The plain, boring, suburban marriage life with routine and 9-to-5 jobs, you can't live there. It's strangling you. And you're gasping for air here, right? You're gasping for air. You're gasping for air, and you're gasping for reward also. Actually, I feel like the one I'm talking to could be a bit starved here. Starved of air, but also starved of reward feeling. Like feeling like the real reward or pleasure of life. Right? Enjoyment or pleasure of life. Like feeling a bit starved, I feel like. You need the lift off, the freedom, spreading those wings and just fly where you want to go, right? It's like you have been inside too long. Like if you have been in prison, right? You're really longing to get out, right? You really want to get out. And you probably have, because the 8 and the 9 comes before the 10. And the 8 and the 9 is restriction. It is a mind restriction. I can't get out. And again, because of something you think, I can't get out, then I'm not a good person. How will people see me? I don't know what to do if I get out. If I actually get out, what am I supposed to do? I'm not good at this. I'm not good enough to fly on my own. I can't be alone. I need this other person, or I need someone to take care of me, or I'm not good enough at this. People will hate me, right? People will hate me. And maybe that's your family, right? Maybe they will hate you. There will be gossip, there will be talk. I will be looked at very badly. Or if I do this, I can't keep up my curriculum, right? Or my spotless work performance. Like if I do this, if I take off and fly away, I become unreliable, untrustworthy. How can I maintain my life then? How can I, if I take off and wander off from my family, from my children, how will they see me? How will they regard me? What if they hate me? You know, that's the prison, that's the mind prison. The fears, the shame, the guilt, the negative, like limiting beliefs, the things that hold you back from doing something, shame, guilt, feelings, maybe also like daring it, like I don't know if I dare do this. I want it very much, but I don't know if I dare do it. So there could be a sense of not feeling brave enough, not feeling that you have what it takes, or not feeling worthy of it, not feeling that you could be someone who could do this, that you are such a person. Take that however it resonates. But I'm talking to someone who feel again like the strangling around your neck. You feel it's coming closer and closer here. The 9 is the strangle. The 9 is the strangle, the struggle, the exhaustion, that it has become way too much. Like you are almost exploding here, right? You're just about having an eruption here, breaking out. It's already in you. Actually, the decision has already been made. You may just not have slammed the door yet. You know, like you may not have walked out with a door slam yet. Like you know, that's what I feel. And maybe you are worried about exactly that, the quarrel, the door slam, the angry faces, that you don't want that, right? You would rather want you could go and you could leave and you could still be friends. You could still uphold some kind of connection maybe or something, but you cannot breathe in it, right? You can't breathe in it. And maybe for now you are still in it because you are avoiding the door slam, right? You're avoiding this final cut of something. And maybe you are contemplating if there could be a way in the middle, if there could be a way of that I can still be a parent and I can still come around and I can still be here. But at the same time, every time I come in the door, I feel how it's strangling me. How I just can't. I just can't. This is what I have. Can we get an advice, please? Like if you really feel the strangle around your neck here, what would the advice be here? And then I get transformation. And I said that in the beginning, right? Transformation is what I feel like is here. Choose the transformation. I feel like that's the advice. Go with your divine guidance, your inner guidance here. Trust that. Trust that you are in a transformation, a transitioning situation where you are becoming something else, or you're getting to a different. You're getting somewhere else, right? Go through this transformation. Go to rehab, or get out of the marriage if you feel like you're strangled there. That it's depleting you. Like, get yourself out of depleting energies. Trust this transformation, right? I feel like that is definitely an advice here. Trust the transformation. Allow yourself to go through it. Allow yourself to go through it. Even how, again, she's playing with fire here, or she's taming it or whatever. And maybe you need to go through that burn, right? Sometimes to, like the 10 of fire is like a burn. It's you have gone through the heat of something. Like the purgatory, what it's called. Like you have gone through it. You have felt the flames, right? You have felt how it's burning you. And fire cannot be stagnant, right? Fire needs to move. It needs to move somehow. If it becomes stagnant in you, it burns you like a fire. It's really terrible, and it festers. Fire must not fester. It must circulate. It must be used for something. It must somehow. Then you have restless feet. You know, your body is because it's festering. So you know it when you feel like you need to do something with your body, right? That's when you have the festering feeling. And what's she doing? She's looking at it, right? She's looking at it, examining it, figuring out what this means. Why is it here? What do you want? What are you telling me, right? There could be questions you could ask yourself. As I said, why is it so dull in the dark? It started right away when I took it away here. When I took it away and I start asking the questions, right? I also get some of the answers. Why can't I stand it here? Because it's dull and boring and cold and insignificant, and there's no life here. Why is there no life here? Like, if this is what you have manifested, that if this is your life, what you have bought the garment at one point. Maybe you got yourself married and you live in this home. Why is there no life here anymore? Why do you feel drained, or why do they feel drained? Because then it's not right for you anymore, is it? The fun is gone. There's no fun here. There's seriousness. It's grey, it's dark, it's sad, it's lonely perhaps. It's why is it like this? Do you feel that you like that light is only outside you? That light can only exist outside you? That joy and happiness can only be outside you, not in you? Are you not allowed to be happy? Were you not allowed to be happy? Do you feel that something is weighing on you? Like, are you carrying some kind of grief? Are you carrying some kind of sadness or guilt or something that is prohibiting you from feeling the joy from inside? That inside of you, in your home, with those that are here. Because you are constantly looking out here to have it, but it must be because it's not here that you don't have it. It's not in you. Why is it not in you? Why are you unhappy? Why do you rely on the light of others? It must be because you carry some kind of low vibrational frequency. Maybe you carry some kind of grief or sadness, some kind of projection, something that may have been put upon you, right? Obligations, duties, you know, something like that you are carrying it, but you hate it. And that's what I feel like. You need to become really aware of this. There's something about your current life that you hate. It's draining you. It's so exhausting. And you're trying to find the balance by looking outside of yourself. Becoming fascinated with something outside of yourself because actually you feel hollow, right? Or you feel so drained, so little perhaps. Maybe you feel little here, like there's so little of you left. Like there's so little of the real you left here because your life got occupied with all kinds of stuff that were not your priorities. But you were taught that you should do this. You know, like you should, as I said in the beginning, the good life, some are told that the good life is that go to school, get your education, find this spouse, get married, get this suburban life, get your 9-to-5 solid job and your pension schemes, and then life is good. Right, and maybe that's what you've done. Like you followed that plan, but this plan was never yours, right? You just followed an advice, and it was not the best advice for you. Because you're the globetrotter. You're the fortune hunter. Like the one who is free, unchained, untied, unbound to something, without any responsibility for children or something like that. You are not that one. Like inside you're not that one, I think. The one I'm reading for, the one I'm talking to, you are that one. You're this globetrotter, the one that just opened their arms, and every day they look at a new map and they say, where do I want to go today? What do I want to explore? What could feel exciting for me today to do? What new interest or what new hobby do I want to read about? Or you are someone who needs, your mind needs some kind of stimulation. I think that it needs to be stimulated. Your intellect, your fascination for the world. I feel like it's actually generally because you're fascinated by the world, what's in there, and what could be explored, and what could feel like to stand in the midst of this ocean and connect with it, right? To connect with it, to taste the lemons, to to taste a real Cuban cigar, not just in your own living room, but actually being in Cuba, actually being at the farm where they are producing the cigars. That is authentic, right? That is real. That is what sparks the light in you. That is what gives you this real feeling that when you have the smell in the air, when you can feel the moisture, that is what you need, right? Watching television is not enough, right? You need the real thing. You want to get out there. You need to be connected with the, I don't know, take it, whatever it is for you, right? Like looking at pictures of horseback riding or photos from when you were a child, or again, you can look at magazines with motorbikes, but nothing is the same as sitting on one and actually just riding it, just blasting out there. There's nothing that can. And you can find it at home in your suburb home here. It's not the same, right? You need to get out there. You need to be on the road. You need to be as I say, on the hunt. But it's a stimulation. There's something in you that needs this stimulation. This yeah, I don't know exactly what I could call it. It is a rare excitement about life, or maybe about God, the connection with God. It's something about that. This that when you're in the right boat, when you're in the fishing boat, right, the fishing boat and catching your own like big fish out there, that's the triumph. Not and it must be the real hunt. It must be the real big fish, not a little fish in the pond in your backyard, right? It's like you're not going hunting, no, you're going tiger or lion hunting, right? You go to Africa, you go, it's like, I want the top of the game experience. You don't go to your local poker center and play poker, no, you go to Vegas and play poker, right? You want this, it has to be this over the top experience. You get my point? Like it's not enough, right? Like I want the best of the best, or the most authentic. I want the most authentic version of something. I want the highest kick of something. That's what I'm looking for, and that's why I have to be out there. I can't get it through television. I can't get it through watching some photos or go through YouTube videos or something. It's not the same. I have to get it. I have to go out there and get it, or align with certain people. I have to. Yeah, that's what I feel like. That's what the fire tells you in you, right? And you are a fire sign, Sagittarius, but that's what you want. And that is maybe the thing that changes you from a Leo, right? That it's not just about like getting, you could say, power by all means. And what does that even mean? You, as a Leo, you can get power in any way possible, as long as it's power, for instance, or being big. It doesn't matter how you get big. It doesn't matter how you grow your channel, your YouTube channel, and get a million subscribers. The means doesn't really matter for a Leo necessarily. It's the outcome. Like you look for the outcome. You look for the greatness of something. You look for the spotlight, for the fame, becoming famous for something. But it could be anything. It could be anything that you choose as a tool to get to the outcome, to get to the crown, to get to the spotlight. But for you, Sagittarius, it feels not enough. It's not enough to just be famous. I need to be famous for, or I need to have the thrill of success, or the thrill of, it's not just anything that can give me that. It has to be authentic, right? It has to be, like, it's not the same to watch a Chaplin movie in your modern suburban cinema. No, to watch it in an old cinema with old antique chairs and that are squeezing and with the red like a red a garment on it, right? And the ticket window is not something you can buy online or something. No, you get an old-fashioned ticket, right? You get, and you have to pay in cash for it, right? And there's a certain smell in the cinema. And then that's when you sit down and watch the old Charlie Chaplin a movie, right? And of course a movie without sound, right? Because that's the original. There's something about getting in tune with the original feeling of something, right? The original feeling of something could be of importance. That gives you the special high or the special satisfaction. And if this has to do with a person and the limerence and the love addiction, that's again this. It's the original. The original feeling is the real one. Like, nobody can become a substitute of that. If there is an original feeling about a person that you got drawn to, you have to go back to that one. And you have to examine it. Why is it that there was an original feeling? Maybe the original feeling was that they rejected you. And because they rejected you, you got hooked. You got hooked on it. It became an obsession to get them, to get them to see you, to become their acquaintance, to go out with them, to make them love you, right? To make them love you, perhaps. The original feeling was perhaps that you got rejected, right? So you have to go back and examine that. And the rejection may have given you a feeling that you were not good enough, that what is inside you here is not interesting, that what is inside you is not of value. And therefore, you don't like your own company, right? Because this is what you are reminded of. If you can't look out here, you are reminded of this. And of course, that's not great, right? But this is what you need to examine. You need to examine is there something here that makes me feel really bad and awful and undesirable or unwanted or unloved or something. And if it is that, I can go out there and find my bliss. I somehow have to figure out what kind of grief I'm carrying, or what kind of loss, or what kind of sadness I'm carrying here. That's the only way to align yourself with figuring out what was the original feeling. Why did I get aligned with this? If it's an addiction, why did I get aligned with that? And why is it that I'm seeking this original, authentic feeling? Like there's something in this that is, you could say, your message here. The message lies there. For you, the real message, or the real dream. I'm reading about I'm reading about the dream, and maybe the dream lies here. When you know what this is, then you will understand why you have this, why this is here. So it means that you need to go back to the root, you could say. You need to go back to find that's what she's doing, right? She is looking at the fire here, figuring out what is it? Why do I feel burned? Tempering the fire, figuring out why is it so important for me? What is it giving me? What is it an example of? What is it giving me? To be in touch with this, what is it giving me? In the name of healing, I believe that that we are repeating patterns to give ourselves an opportunity to heal something. Sometimes we just don't know what's going on. Like it hasn't become clear to us. I think though that you know, with the 10 here, you think you have an awareness about this, whatever this is. You know you need to release it, I think. But in order to release it, you may need to look at the shadow side here. And it's easier for us to go the other way. It's easier to do something that is more fun than doing this, right? Maybe you are doing this, and from time to time you need to look out here, because if you're only sitting in sadness here, if you only sit in regret and grief and sadness, and you go through as what I call the dark night of the soul, you go through the purgatory of that. That is a transformation, a path, right? When you go through that and you only sit in that, then you need to allow yourself also to have the other. Transforming yourself is not easy, as I said, and you can have both. You can stay the same and have a transformation at the same time. You can stay the same and become new at the same time without something going on. And maybe that is a process you are in where it feels quite tumultuous right now, where the fire is really burning you, like you really feel restless, or you feel unsatisfied, angry or something, right? That was the feeling I had in the beginning, like it was swirling like that, and I wanted to kind of piece it out and like balance it somehow. But then I figured out that this is part of the message, that I have to go along with that feeling. I have to like be in that turmoil with you to deliver this message, right? Yeah, this is what I have. I hope this helps somehow. At least if you haven't been aware, you are in a transformation process. I said that in the beginning also, right? That you're transforming something, you're changing something. Willingly or unwillingly, you're doing this, and there is a resistance to it. There is a resistance, or even if you have made up your mind, there are still consequences that you have to face, right? Physical, real, people consequences, perhaps. And that's probably what you are facing. That could be the turmoil, right? That could be the turmoil you feel, even though you may feel quite clear in your persuasion. I know this is the right thing to do. I know this is right for me. I need to levitate. I need to fly. I need to get out. I need to do this. There could still be a consequence, like when we say no to people, or if we leave or something, there's a consequence, a real down to like grounded consequence, right? A real consequence right in your face, right? It could be the door slam, that someone really like closes the door right in your face, right? Or you do that because you need to. Yeah, this is what I have. Please take care of yourself, Sagittarius, during this time. Be caring, like try to be caring for yourself. Know that you're doing the right thing here for you, I think. You're following like an innate thing in you, and you are like that. Like this is... We are not all bookkeepers, right? We're not all those that like the routine and like the quiet. It's nice sometimes, perhaps. It's nice that everything is not tumultuous, that everything is not turning everywhere we look. That sometimes it's nice that the trees still stand where they used to stand, and the garden is still where it used to be, but and the streets are still where they used to be, but and we can handle turmoil. We can handle turmoil if something is really aligned. And I think that you can handle this turmoil because this is aligned. Because this is aligned, because you have figured this out. You have made this decision. You have weighed pros and cons. You have been through the depression, the sleepless nights. You have done that. You have done this process. And because you have figured this out, you've made up your mind. You do feel guided. You feel it in your gut. You feel it in your entire being that you need to bounce off and levitate here. You know that. You have gone through every discriminating thoughts and beliefs here and everything. Any self-sabotage, you have gone through that. You've made up your mind. You know it's the right thing to do. And because of that, you can handle this. Because of this, you are not second guessing. You have already gone through the second guessing process. So because you have found balance here, you have found ease and calm here. You have found forgiveness perhaps. Maybe you have found release and understanding here. You have forgiven yourself. You have forgiven maybe others. You have found peace in a situation here. There is no way you can go back. There's no way you can go back into depression or into the mundane life. There's no way you can do that. You have no option actually. It's like here you have no option. There's only forward movement. And because you have that, you will endure this. You will stay on your path. You will fulfill this. You will go and have what it is that you want. Right? You will have that outcome. You will have this. You will become the globetrotter or the fortune hunter or whatever this is for you. Right? You will do that. Because it is something innately that you need. And I'm not talking about a drug here. I'm talking about your freedom. This is a freeing process, right? You're freeing yourself. This is the freedom. Like you are a freedom seeker here. And maybe you do find freedom in your drugs. I don't know. Maybe you do. And I can't say that it's, well, if it's destroying you, I would say it's probably not good for you, right? Again, the depleted energy here. If it's destroying you, if it's not vitalizing you, not energizing you, if it's draining you, it's not the right choice for you, right? I believe it's given. It's given that if it drains you, it's not the right choice. So instead of maybe drugs, there could be something else that could be this star for you, right? You just need to figure out what it is. Yeah, this is what I have. I hope this helped somehow. Take care of yourself. Love and light to you. Bye-bye.